Gold, not mountains of it. Not yet. Just enough to change the direction of history. Today, Venezuela is a nation shaped by oil, crisis, and memory. But centuries ago, long before borders or names, this land was known for something else. Gold, carried in rivers, worn as ornaments, traded, not hoarded. To the people who lived here, it was part of life. To the outside world, it was a signal, a promise. In this film, we use modern AI reconstruction to step into Venezuela before it was claimed, before it was extracted, before it was reshaped by empire. We don't imagine the past. We rebuild it from maps, chronicles, landscapes, and surviving traces. And to understand how everything changed, we begin at the moment the world first looked toward this coast. Not in conquest, but in curiosity. The year is 1498. The sea is calm. The shoreline is green and endless. Rivers pour fresh water into the salt, and far offshore, something appears that does not belong here. White sails. They move slowly, almost cautiously, not charging forward but drifting, testing the water. From the shore, the ocean has always been familiar. It brings fish, it carries canoes. It follows rules learned over generations. Now it carries something new. These ships cut through waters that have never known hulls like this before. Their shadows slide across the surface, disturbing patterns that have not changed in living memory. This is not the beginning of Venezuela. People already live here, in river villages, forest clearings, and coastal settlements shaped by wind, tide, and ancestry. But this is the moment the outside world begins to notice, not to understand, not to respect, to measure, to name, to take. And over the next 3 centuries, that single glance across the water will transform this land, its rivers, its people, its cities, and its future. Again and again, we will move slowly through this history. From first contact to empire, from extraction to rebellion, from colony to fractured independence. This is not the story of a discovery. It is the story of what happens after the world decides a place is valuable. First contact, Columbus, the coast, 1498-1499. This first reconstruction places us just offshore, near the Gulf of Paria, where the waters of the Orinoco River spill so forcefully into the sea that fresh water floats atop salt. Christopher Columbus is here on his 3rd voyage. He does not land immediately. He stands on deck and watches. From this distance, the coastline looks impossibly alive. Dense green forest rising directly from the shore. Broken by wide river mouths that pulse outward like veins, the air feels heavy with heat and moisture. Clouds build and collapse in slow cycles above the land. The sailors notice something strange. The sea tastes different here. They lower buckets and drink. Fresh water, far from any riverbank. To them, this can only mean one thing: a vast landmass lies ahead. Canoes appear, long, narrow, expertly carved. They move confidently through choppy water, controlled by paddles that cut the surface with ease. The people inside them do not shout, they observe. Their bodies are painted. They wear ornaments made from shells, feathers, and gold, not in excess but enough to draw attention. This detail changes everything. Gold is not wealth here. It is symbolic, ceremonial, embedded in social meaning. But on the deck of a European ship it becomes a signal. Columbus writes later that he believes he has reached the edge of paradise, a land untouched, abundant, blessed. What he has actually reached is a threshold, a point where 2 worlds begin to press against one another, unevenly. Venezuela, a name is born 1499 to 1520. 1 year later, the coastline is no longer unfamiliar. In 1499, Alonso de Ojeda, Amerigo Vespucci, and Juan de la Cosa sail westward along the northern edge of South America. This time, the ships enter a broad, sheltered body of water, Lake Maracaibo. The scene here is calm. The surface reflects sky and cloud. Wooden structures rise above the water on tall stilts, their reflections broken gently by ripples. Homes stand where land meets water, connected by narrow walkways. Canoes tied beneath them like animals at rest. To European eyes, this resemblance feels uncanny. It reminds them of something far away. They call it Venezuela, Little Venice. The name sticks. Venezuela is now spoken aloud in foreign tongues, written into logs and maps, repeated in ports across the Atlantic. but nothing here has agreed to be named. These early decades are not conquest, not yet. They are reconnaissance. Ships move methodically along the coast, mapping rivers, coves, anchor points. Islands are catalogued, bays are named, routes are imagined. Along Cubagua Island, pearl beds are discovered. At first the extraction seems harmless, then it accelerates. Indigenous divers are forced into the water repeatedly, diving deeper, longer, without protection. Pearls rise to the surface, bodies do not. This is where Venezuela's relationship with empire truly begins, not with cities, but with extraction. Pearls, slavery, early collapse. 1520-1550, Cubagua transforms rapidly. This reconstruction shows Nueva Cadiz, one of the earliest European towns in the Americas, built entirely for profit. Stone houses line dusty streets. Warehouses stand near the shore, packed with crates. Ships arrive regularly, sails stiff with wind. There is money here, fast money, but there is no farmland. No forests tended, no future planned. The settlement exists only to pull wealth from the sea. Indigenous divers are worked beyond endurance. When they die, they are replaced, first by others from nearby coasts, then by enslaved Africans brought across the Atlantic. The pearls begin to thin, divers go deeper, deaths increase. By the 1540s, the beds are exhausted, the ships stop coming. Nueva Cadiz empties almost as quickly as it formed. Walls remain, streets fall silent. This is one of the earliest lessons written into Venezuelan soil. When land is treated only as a resource, it collapses the moment extraction ends. The pattern is set. Founding cities. Permanence arrives. 1550 to 1600. Now we move inland. This shift is important. Spain begins to understand that control requires permanence. Not camps, not ports, but cities. In 1555, Valencia is founded near fertile plains. In 1558, Mérida rises in the Andes, surrounded by cold air and steep slopes. And in 1567, Caracas is established in a mountain valley, protected from pirates, connected to the coast, blessed with mild climate. This reconstruction shows early Caracas. A grid emerges. A central plaza forms, open, intentional. Churches dominate the skyline, their towers visible from every direction. Stone replaces timber. Authority becomes visible. Indigenous populations are pushed outward or absorbed into labor systems. African slaves arrive in growing numbers, brought to replace a workforce already devastated. The cities feel fragile, distant from Spain, underfunded, often neglected. Venezuela is now colonial, but still peripheral. And yet, something important has happened. The land is no longer just observed. It is occupied. Venezuela, from first sight to a broken empire, rivers, missions, and the unclaimed interior, 1600 to 1700. By the early 1600s, Spanish control over Venezuela is uneven. The coastline is known. The valleys are mapped. The cities exist, fragile but permanent. But beyond them lies something far more difficult to dominate. The interior. This reconstruction lifts us above the Orinoco River, one of the largest river systems on Earth. From above, it doesn't look like a boundary. It looks like a living network. Water splits into channels, then splits again. Forests swallow sound. The land stretches outward in ways no city grid can control. For Spain, this space is both opportunity and threat. Gold rumors circulate endlessly, always deeper inland, always just beyond reach. So do fears of resistance, of rival empires, of territories slipping away unnoticed. Into this uncertainty come the missions. Jesuit and Franciscan orders move inland along rivers, not with armies, but with crosses, tools, and doctrine. Their settlements appear small, controlled, intentional. This reconstruction shows a mission town along the Orinoco around 1650. A church stands at the center, whitewashed, simple, commanding. Around it, neat rows of huts form an ordered circle. Fields stretch outward, planted carefully. Time is regulated. Movement is watched. To some indigenous communities, the missions offer protection from enslavement by colonists. To others, they represent cultural erasure. Both interpretations are true. Conversion is rarely voluntary. Language changes. Customs are restricted. Children are separated from elders. Some groups flee deeper into forest and floodplain, following routes only they understand. Others stay, adapting, surviving, reshaping the imposed structure from within. Spain never truly controls the interior. It negotiates with it. Along the Guayana region, fortifications rise slowly. Outposts appear and vanish. Disease spreads faster than authority. The empire governs the edges. The heart of the land resists definition. Cocoa chains the colonial order. 1700–1777. The 18th century brings a different kind of transformation, not discovery, not missions, but wealth. Cocoa begins to dominate Venezuela's economy. This reconstruction places us along the coastal valleys of Barlovento. The air is heavy. The soil is rich. Rows of cocoa trees stretch beneath filtered sunlight, their pods hanging low and heavy. Plantations spread quickly. This is not subsistence farming. This is export agriculture, designed entirely for foreign markets. The labor force is enslaved. Africans are brought across the Atlantic in increasing numbers, forced into brutal routines shaped by heat, repetition, and punishment. This reconstruction lingers on daily life. Bare feet in mud, hands stained dark from fermented cocoa, voices low, not from calm but from exhaustion. Above them, overseers watch, and beyond them, owners profit. Caracas begins to change. We see the city in the mid-1700s, larger, wealthier, more confident. Stone houses grow taller, balconies appear, imported goods fill shops near the plaza. A local elite forms, criollos, born in the colony, educated, wealthy, and increasingly resentful. They control land and labor, but not power. That still belongs to Spain. Society hardens into hierarchy. Peninsulars sit at the top. Spanish-born officials appointed from abroad. Criollos follow, wealthy but politically limited. Below them, free mixed populations navigating restricted mobility. At the bottom, enslaved Africans, whose labor sustains the entire system. Tension builds quietly. In 1777, Spain attempts to strengthen control by creating the Captaincy General of Venezuela. For the first time, the territory is administratively unified. On paper, this is efficiency. In reality, it concentrates resentment. Venezuela now knows itself as a single entity and begins to question why it is governed from so far away. Ideas, enlightenment, the coming break, 1780–1808. The final decades of the 18th century feel deceptively calm. Caracas is orderly. Plantations function. Trade continues. But the world beyond Venezuela is changing rapidly. Ideas cross oceans faster than armies ever could. The American Revolution proves that colonies can break away. The French Revolution proves that kings can fall. Books circulate quietly, banned, hidden, translated by hand. Enlightenment thinkers are discussed in private salons and university halls. This reconstruction shows Caracas around 1795. Elegant houses line the streets. Carriages move steadily. Social rituals feel rigid, rehearsed. But beneath the surface, conversations change. Young men travel to Europe for education. They return with new language, words like liberty, rights, nation. Among them is Simon Bolivar. He grows up wealthy, orphaned early, shaped by tutors who expose him to revolutionary thought. This reconstruction places us in a drawing room. Soft light, restrained decor, a map of Europe unfolded on a table. Bolivar listens more than he speaks. The colony feels too small for the ideas arriving within it. Spain, meanwhile, weakens. Napoleon advances across Europe. The Spanish crown fractures under pressure. In 1808, Napoleon invades Spain and deposes the king. Power collapses at the center, and across the Atlantic, colonies watch carefully. Caracas waits, not peacefully, but deliberately, because once authority fractures, it never returns unchanged. Venezuela, from first sight to a broken empire, war without illusion, independence, destruction, 1810–1823. The moment finally arrives quietly. April 19, 1810. This reconstruction places us in Caracas. Early morning. The city looks unchanged. Tiled roofs, church towers, familiar streets, but authority is gone. Spain's king has been removed in Europe. The empire no longer knows who commands it. Local elites gather, not in celebration but calculation. They form a junta, claiming to rule in the king's absence. It is not yet independence. It is hesitation, but hesitation never lasts long. By 1811, Venezuela declares itself independent. The moment feels historic and fragile. This reconstruction shows the signing not as triumph, but tension. Men stand stiffly, ink dries slowly. Outside, the city holds its breath, because independence does not unify Venezuela, it fractures it. Royalists resist fiercely. Loyalty splits by region, class, and survival instinct. The plains, the llanos, become battlegrounds. This reconstruction pulls us out of the cities and into open land. Endless grass stretches to the horizon. Horsemen move fast, lightly armed, brutal and decisive. These are not formal European armies. They are irregular forces, llaneros, skilled riders whose allegiance shifts with circumstance. Cities fall. Cities are retaken. Civilians suffer most, then nature intervenes. In 1812, a massive earthquake devastates Caracas and surrounding towns. Churches collapse, walls split open, thousands die. Royalist priests claim it is divine punishment for rebellion. Fear spreads faster than armies. The First Republic collapses. Simon Bolivar flees, but the war does not end. It becomes harder. Bolivar returns again and again, failing, learning, adapting. This reconstruction shows him crossing rivers, climbing mountains, losing companions. The war transforms him. It also transforms Venezuela. By 1819, Bolivar leads one of the most improbable campaigns in military history, crossing flooded plains and the Andes to strike Spanish forces where they least expect it. The cost is enormous. Men die from cold, disease, hunger. But momentum shifts. The decisive moment comes in 1821. At the Battle of Carabobo. This reconstruction does not dramatize heroics. It shows dust, confusion, exhaustion. But when the smoke clears, Spanish authority in Venezuela is effectively broken. By 1823, the last major royalist strongholds fall. Venezuela is free, but it is ruined. Cities are damaged. Trade is shattered. The population is exhausted. Independence has arrived. Without peace, the promise collapses. Caudillos and fragmentation. 1830 to 1870, freedom does not bring stability. It brings a new struggle. Who rules now? Venezuela becomes part of Gran Colombia, a vast state envisioned by Bolivar. It fails quickly. Regional interests clash. Distance strains unity. Personal rivalries grow. By 1830, Gran Colombia collapses. Venezuela stands alone, independent, weak, divided. This reconstruction shows early Republican Caracas. Government buildings exist, institutions exist, authority does not. Power shifts caudillos, regional strongmen backed by armed followers. This is not ideology, it is control. The countryside dominates politics. Presidents rise and fall through force, not elections. The llanos remain militarized, cities stagnate. This reconstruction shows rural Venezuela in the mid-1800s. Villages are isolated, roads are poor, trade is limited, education is rare, healthcare almost non-existent. Yet the republic continues, uneven, fragile, persistent. In 1854, Venezuela abolishes slavery. This moment is transformative, but incomplete. Former slaves are free, but landless. Old hierarchies remain intact. Freedom exists, equality does not. The nation survives through inertia, not because it is strong, because it refuses to disappear. Toward a modern state, order, memory, and endurance. 1870s, late 1800s. By the late 19th century, Venezuela begins to stabilize, not gently but forcefully. Strong central governments impose order. Railways appear. This reconstruction shows a train arriving near Caracas in the 1880s. Iron cuts through landscape that once resisted empire. Cities begin to modernize. Gas lamps light streets. Public buildings expand. Trade slowly recovers. Caracas grows outward. The elite adopts European styles, architecture, fashion, education, but the countryside remains distant. This is a nation with uneven time. Some places live in the future, others remain in the aftermath of war. The scars of empire, slavery, and rebellion are not erased, they are absorbed. Venezuela enters the modern age not unified, not healed, but enduring. Outro. A land still unfinished. Venezuela was never empty, never silent. It was shaped by rivers long before ships arrived, by villages before cities, by labor before wealth, by ideas before nations. Empire arrived and fractured it. Independence followed and tested it. What remains is not a finished story. It is a foundation. The Orinoco still flows. The plains still stretch outward. The mountains still divide and protect. History here does not sit still. It moves, slowly, unevenly, relentlessly. And Venezuela continues forward, not because its past was easy, but because it survived it.